This information is what I've used to build my entire team. See, you just saw me do a presentation. I'm not that great at doing a presentation. I screw up all kinds of stuff. I don't read very good. I do a lot of stuff I don't do very good. All right? But I'm going to tell you what I got good at. I got good at people, other leaders developing in my team. All right? I got really good at that. I got so many people who do this better than me, it's not even funny. That's what my goal was. My goal was I wanted to become totally insignificant to what I had, where everybody thought they could do it better than me. You can watch Scott Ross, Scott's in my team here in Dallas. A lot of you know Scott. You can watch him do a presentation and everybody goes, God, that's unbelievable. Yeah, he's good. He's really good. It's a good thing he's on my team. All right? But what I figured out how to do is create leadership to go one step to the next step. And if you're looking at this idea and trying to figure out how do I really make this work, it's about replacing yourself over and over and over and over, and it gets replaced so many times that other people replace it. Well, the only way that happens is if you've got a system of some kind that allows that replacement to take place, and somebody can look at something, see what to do, and they know exactly what to do, and they go do it, and then they can take the exact same thing and teach somebody else. Are you with me? Yeah. This is how you become rich in our industry. All right? It's about the duplication, not how good you are. I'm proof that you don't have to be very good to do a presentation and people get in. Now, when Scott does it, or Jefferson, or David Peach, or somebody else, do they get more? They might, but I don't have to get as many of them, and it doesn't matter. I just have to find a few that find a few that find a few, and I win. Are you with me? They might be faster than me. Doesn't matter. If I find more leaders, I win long term, no matter what. I don't care if they're better than me, but long term, if I got more leaders, hands down, I'm going to beat them all day long while I lay on the beach. That's right. That was my objective. So what I'm going to share with you, the first step, I'm going to share with you what the rules are. Very important to understand. The game is played this way. You choose if you want to play the game. Then what do we got to do to play in the game? What's the play that we're going to call? All right, so let's just go through this real quick. First of all, I want to focus on this focus board. You can go print this off your website. If you don't have one of these, I'd highly recommend you go to your website, click on the training tab, it drops down, you just print this, and if you're watching this presentation, out in TV land out there right now, I'd get on your computer, get one printed off right now. All right, because you're going to want to make marks on this thing. Okay, so we're going to talk about the middle of this. This is what I call the success cycle, and this really is the rules that make this idea work. There's only a couple pieces to this that you have to get good at. All right? Once you get good at a couple of these pieces that I'm going to share with you, those are just skills you can develop. So the first one up there you can see is the list. Now this is pretty obvious. All you got to do is just write them all down. Whoever you think of, write on a list. Don't play God. All right? This is what I did. Here's how I started. I said, no, they got too much money. That one's too busy. They would never be interested. See, this is how I went down. And I never wrote those people on the list. And finally I go, you know what? I figured out real quick the ones that I thought wouldn't. And the ones that I said there's no shot, they're the ones that said this is amazing. How do I start? Yep. And I said, well, I guess I won't play God no more. All I'm going to do is just talk to all of them. Yep. And what I was going to do first, though, is I'm just going to talk to the sharpest ones I know. Because if I talk to ones that are sharper than me, they can make it work faster than me, right? So that's what I started doing. I called the people that were really, really successful. All right? Some of you know who Dave Watson is, right? He does the 4-step invite. Dave was one of my first phone calls. All right? That one turned out pretty good. All right? So the point was you can find other people that all of a sudden take off and develop the idea. And so you create the list. The next thing is you got to become good at this right here, at inviting. All right? Now, if you don't get this skill down, this is going to be extremely painful. Extremely painful, and you probably will quit. Okay? Because you're going to say, I'm going to try to invite how I think is best. It's your business. You can do what you want, but we have something called a 4-step invite. Once again, I'm not going to go through the 4-step invite. You go to the training tab. You click on the training tab. It drops down. You click on 4-step invite. My buddy Dave Watson, he does the 4-step invite. I'd take a pad, all right, a legal pad. I'd take notes. I'd watch it 6 or 7 times. Do the exact thing he tells you to do. Those 4 steps. And if you'll do those over and over, most importantly, they work, but you can teach those to somebody else because you can send somebody to the training tab, right? Yep. See, I want you to understand what we're doing here through this process. It's all about duplication. If all you got to do is become a good pointer, anybody can become a good pointer. Yep. That's all I'm doing to you right now. I'm just pointing you where to go. All right, and so I'm not going to go through the invite part. You can go learn that yourself. Just understand this is a skill, and you have to develop this skill. If you become good at this skill, then what happens next is this right here is the exposure takes place. And you can do as many of these as you choose because when people see it, something happens. They become reps and they buy product, and some of them choose not to participate. All right? So the point is we want to get a lot of exposure. Now I need to identify what is an exposure. An exposure is not you calling somebody and telling them all about it. Okay? And exposure is them actually clicking on the number 2 on that website, watching a 21-minute presentation, or them sitting in a room in a presentation like we just did, or them sitting over lunch with you and you push play on your computer and you play one of these presentations that's being played today that you're watching. All right? All those things are exposures, and when somebody sees the entire picture, then they can make a decision. They can't make a decision based on you trying to tell them how great this is because they don't listen to you. All right, you're their friend. They know how many times you've been in jail. They know how many times you've been drunk. All right, they know all those things. They know that you're not going to make this work. All right, so they're not going to listen. All right, so you have to understand you got to use what works, and what duplicates is everybody's saying, that guy, all he's doing is pushing a play on a presentation. I bet I could do that. Yeah, absolutely could do that. All right, so exposure, what happens is we get a product sale and we get representative. Now what I was after is I wanted reps. Now I wanted product sales too, don't get me wrong, but reps duplicated my effort. This is like, if I got in the business of marketing and selling hamburgers, all right, we could pick any franchise name there is. If I want to sell more, I just open another business. I just open another store. Are you with me? And the more stores I open, the more burgers they sell. When I saw this idea, I said, this to me, part of the game of what I liked about it was I could open as many outlets as I wanted to open. And those outlets could choose to do whatever they want. They might choose to market and sell travel only. That's all they want to do is be an LTC, plug into our LTC seminars for success, and what happens is they learn how to be proficient at marketing and selling travel the best they can be. I would help them do that. All right? I got another group of people that said, I just want to take trips. I'm retired. I want to do one of these, every month or every week or whatever they want to do, and they can become a Dream Trip member. They say, I'm not interested in any marketing stuff. I don't want to sell nothing. I don't want to do anything. But I like to travel. Great. You want this product. And I want to help them be a Dream Trip member. Then I had some people that said, you know what? Life's hadn't treated me the way I wanted to be treated, and I want some other options financially, and I want to start marketing and selling these products like you're doing and developing teams. That's what the representatives were right here. Well, what happened is those reps would turn into builders. A builder is out there trying to tell somebody about this idea. They're, going through the process of learning how to do that. All right, well, what I found out is what I really wanted was somebody that got in this box down here, and that's somebody that became a leader. Now, a leader was somebody that, when I wasn't there, they could perform. They could develop it. They could teach everybody they needed to teach them. And if I had people that could do that, that means if they could work and build lots of business when I wasn't there, when I'm hunting and fishing, all right, they're performing. Yeah. When I'm on the beach with sand between my toes playing with my kids, guess what? They can perform if they want to. Right. The leaders are the key to the success. You got 2 sales teams, left and right. All right? If you get a lot of leaders on your right team and a lot of leaders on your left team, all of a sudden the game's over with. So as I saw this is what I was after. You know what I found out? I wasn't good enough to create them. No matter how talented I was, and you're not either. Guaranteed. Because there's only one of you, and there's no way you can be good enough to move people from here down to here. And so this is what I did. I said, you know what? I'm going to be, one of my advantages over lots of you is I wasn't smart enough to try to make this hard. I wasn't. I watch people that are just, they're brilliantly smart and they have no success with this idea because they're trying to make it hard. See, I just grew up on the farm. All right? And I said, you know what? I can learn how to do this right here, 4 steps. There wasn't too many. I could do that. And then I figured out that I could move people over here into this circle. Now, what this circle is, let me help you understand what it is. Because this is why most people in this industry, they get into a business, a people business like we're in, and almost all of them fail miserably because this is how they treat it. It's like if you're in construction and you decided that you're going to build a house, and you take a hammer and you take a handsaw and you go find some rusty nails that you picked up down at whatever store it was, and you go take those back and you start trying to build a house that way. You could build it eventually, right? But how many understand how painful that would be? You'd have to cut every stinking, and then you cut it 1 too short and you got to start again. Anybody been there? Yeah. This is the way everybody comes into this industry, is they're going to see how cheap can we keep this. I'm not going to buy any tools that would teach me what to do. All right? I'm going to build this house with a handsaw and a hammer. That's the way I'm going to do this. And I'm going to, if I bend a nail, I'm not going to throw it away, goodness sake. I'm going to straighten that sucker out and try to use it again. That's the way everybody treats this. But here's what I said. I said, listen, I don't like to work. I'm lazy. I'm going to use the tools. That's why when you build a house, you get a contractor, right? All right, the contractor knows all the rules of everything. And they got a framing crew, and they got finish crews, and they got people that specialize in putting the basement in, the whole thing. All right? And all of a sudden, those people, when they specialize, guess what? They get good, and it happens really fast. All right? And so instead of years, it takes a few days for that house to come up out of the ground. Well, here's what happens is if you have reps and builders, what I figured out, because I wasn't good enough and I didn't want to work that hard, I'm going to point them over here. And I'm going to give them this thing called the Drive Time University, and it's got 10 CDs in it. And all they do is just listen to this over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And it's by the top earners in our company teaching them exactly what to do, and they're driving down the road learning what to do. That's right. Unbelievable. And they got on this other thing called PSP. PSP is just a service that you get. I can't even explain all the stuff that's part of this. All right? This is like putting your business on like a turbocharger to making the thing go fast. And then we got this thing called acceleration training. Acceleration training, this is, we do it one time a month somewhere in the United States. And what takes place is we got people that go to this workshop, they come out of this workshop, and the people that go there earn 5 times the money of the people that don't go. 5 times. We got documented evidence in our computer. Okay? Now, so all I did is I got good at this skill right here, and the next skill I got good at was pointing them over here. And you know how I pointed them over there? The first thing I did is you always lead by example. So I bought the tools and started using them, and I started going to training after training after training, because when I was going, guess what? Other people went with me. And they'd go to that training event, and they go, wow, this is unbelievable. Please get out of my way. They just push me out of the way and take off. And I go, wow, that's pretty cool. Let's get some more to do that. And pretty soon there's tens of thousands upon thousands of people that are blowing this thing apart because they learned the same thing. I don't have to be good at any other than inviting and other than getting people over here, because then they pop out over here. These are the rules. Now you might say, well, it cost me $1,000 to go to an acceleration training. By the time I figure airfare, hotel, my ticket in the door, buying meals, yeah. You can use the power tools, or you can beat it out with a handsaw and nails and a hammer if you want. You choose. Doesn't matter. All right? I think over time, after you beat it out long enough, you figure out, I'm either going to, here's what happens. You either quit, or you say, somebody knows something I don't. I think I'm going to go plug into what's going on. All right? And so what happened is we started running people through this process. They kick out over here. We run them through this list. We run them through this process. They kick out over here. We run them through this process. They kick out over here. Boom, right there. All of a sudden, you wake up one day and you look around and you go, this is amazing. This is amazing. I mean, today, I left this morning my house, and by the time that I got here, I'd cycled 27 times. Yo. Do you understand how much money I made driving from Wichita to here? Huh? God bless America. God bless America. That's exactly right, Peach. All right? Unbelievable, because there's a whole bunch of people that figured out how to do what I'm trying to teach you right here.
Wow.
Okay? It's absolutely crazy when you take this focus board and just say, right here, just do this. Everybody, they look at this thing and go, well, I can figure it out. So now this is the rules. What do we do? This is the next step. Right here, phase 1. This is what you're going to focus on. Here's what I want you to think about. This is 120 days for you to get to director. Now, if you don't do exactly this in 120 days, all right, or exactly this, you can get to director. You just ain't doing it in 120 days. All right? So my guess is in 120 days from now, if you could have anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 a month as a new director, that'd make a difference in your life, right? Yeah. All right. And my guess is I hope I'm talking to people that's saying I would like to do this sooner than later. Yep. All right. So I'm going to share with you the 5 most important things you have to understand about making this work. These are the 5 most important. Okay, now are there other things that could be important? There could be. These are the 5 most important. If you do these 5, you're going to have lots of success. I'll give you some examples in a minute. Okay, what's the first part of phase 1? Okay, remember, this is a 120-day campaign. A 120-day campaign. The first 30 days is the first 30 days of a 120-day campaign. All right, I tell you that because people start and they go expose 30 people and they call me and say, well, I only had a couple people get started. Yeah, that was only the first 30 days of the 120 days. Go do the exact same thing again. All right? I didn't say go evaluate at the end of 30 days. That's not what I said. We're going to go through this process for 120 days because I know you're going to get better. All right? And some of you are going to get a way higher percentage than what I'm going to talk about. But we're going to make 30 personal exposures. Personal exposures is the key. This game, if you want to make a lot of money, is about you sharing it with people you know. Do you want to help other people? Yeah. First and foremost, this is about you sharing it with 30 personal people in the first 30 days. And when that 30 days is up, you're going to do it again and again and again and again. You might say, well, I don't know 120 people to share it with. You're going to have to figure out how to solve that problem. You're going to have to determine whether is the price worth the prize of where it's going to come on the other end. You're going to have to figure that out. I didn't say this was going to be easy. All right? I do know that it's unbelievably worth it. All right? And so if you thought I was going to come up here and sugarcoat this thing, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to tell you straight up what it takes to make it work. It's going to take some effort, and you're going to work really hard. All right? But you also can create income that comes in over and over and over and over and over and over and over, and then when you go on vacation for a long time, it keeps coming in over and over and over and over and over and over. Yep. We all like that idea, right? Yes. Well, if that kind of thing's available, do you understand it ought to be hard? Otherwise, all the weenies would do it. Okay? So we're going to do this first, and then that is going to go right here. This list over here, month 1, 2, 3, and 4, you're going to put a name right there of somebody that sees an exposure. I told you what exposure was. You're going to put them right there. At the end of the month, your goal is to have a name right there. That's your goal. Now, here's what I know happens. I know that when we come over here to our little chart, you are the builder right there. You're going to do 30 exposures. That means you're going to have 6 new reps that are going to come in. You're going to get about 20%. Now, some of you are going to get way better than 20%. But 20% is a pretty good rule, all right? And so you're going to end up with 6. Out of that 6, we know that 29.8%, according to our income disclosure statement, engage and do something. All of you saw that, right? That means out of this 6, there's 30% that'll do something. That's where that 2 comes from. All right? So those 2 are added to you right here. That's how we get the 3. So month 1, you've completed this, right? The first 30 days. Month number 2, you've got now 2 people in this column, and you are in this column. Are you with me? Yep. All right. You can see the results. I'm not going to go through this any farther. We'll come right back up here. Number 2, you've got to get to an acceleration in the first 60 days. Somehow, some way, you've got to get to one of our trainings. All right? If you don't get to one of our trainings in the first 60 days, your chance of success, I'll just be honest with you, is very limited. I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying it cuts down the chances dramatically. See, because you're going to, as you develop this idea, you're going to have some people tell you that they think you're crazy. You're going to have some people that are going to say this doesn't work. And if you don't meet some other people that are winning, it's pretty hard to keep going. Because sometimes it gets tough. Sometimes it gets tough. So you've got to get to one of these events to get the training. Listen to the Drive Time University. Book your first dream trip. Why do you want to do that? Well, number 1, I know that if you go on one of our trips, the chance of you being in our business long term is about 98%. Do you want the people that are part of your team and that are Dream Trip members, do you want them to be part of it for long term? Yeah, you want to get them on a trip, okay? And then plug into the local events. All right, we're in Dallas right now. All right, there's events that are happening here. Scott, how many times a week?
Every day.
Every day there's an event. All you have to do is just go throw somebody in your car and drive them over here. That's all you got to do. Bring them over here, let them sit in that chair. If they see it, there's lots of them that participate. Some of you that are watching this information, all right, out there in TV land, you don't have an event that's going on anywhere close to you. That's okay. You got a website, and you can put people right on that website. There's an acceleration call. What is it? Happen Monday night, 7 o'clock Central Time. All right, you can plug into those events. The people that shared this information, they might have conference calls or webinars, or there's some stuff going on. See, here's the good news for you. The good news is where you're at, nobody's there. The bad news is nobody's there. You have to be the one to decide that you're going to cut the trail where you're at. If you're in Dallas, you don't have to cut the trail. All you got to do is follow the trail because it's already cut. And all you do is bring the people, okay? Let them see the information, all right? So plugging into the local events, what takes place is you got to get in the environment over and over and over. I had somebody tell me one time, they said, well, we got an event on Thursday night, and they said, well, I bowl on Thursday night. I said, okay, well, you decide if you like bowling or making money better. I don't care. I'm just saying if you want to win, you better get to the event and figure out how you can buy the bowling alley later. Because either you're going to win here or you're not going to win. And all I wanted to know, I'm telling all this not to offend anybody, I'm telling you this because this is what I wanted to know. What are the rules? What does it take to make this idea work? Because I wanted what it was over here, but I sure as heck didn't want to go pour my heart and soul into something and not get this because I didn't know what they were. Are you with me? Yeah. See, what I want you to know is what they are, so you know what the rules are. So when you get over here, you have a chance to get over here because you're going to go through that process. All right? You're not going to just run around over here and why is this not working? All right? I want you to know what it takes to make it work. And so this is what you're going to do. For phase 1 is really the first month. Phase 2 is the second month. Phase 3 is the third month. Phase 4 is the fourth month. Now, what happens over here is this little chart is really magical. All right? Because we just went through a minute ago what happens in month 1 and month 2. Month 3, all of a sudden you've got 3 of you that expose it 30 times personally. Remember what the game is about. It's not about, I'm going to help Bill start and then I just go over and live with Bill. No. You can help Bill, but your most important thing is you have to expose 30 yourself. All right? Because, see, more than likely, you got Bill started and Bill might decide to quit, and now you're all bummed out. No, just go show 30 other people, and you find 6 more, and out of that, you got 30% to start doing something. So, month number 2 over here, you got 90 exposures that happen. Now you got 18 new people, and you got 6 new people that say, how do I make this work? You know what you do? Here's the focus board. After every presentation that I do in a group like this is exactly what I do every time. All right? I'm going to give them the focus board because if they got this, they know exactly what the rules are and they know what to do. All right? Now you look in the third month over here. What takes place, all of a sudden, you can see it start to take off. You got 8 people. 240 people saw it. You see how things can happen? Yeah. All right? I was with a guy yesterday. We did a presentation in Wichita just like this. And about 120 days ago, we got a team that really got to going in a city about 2 hours from my house. All right? They put between 400 and 500 in that team, and I started the very first ones on this little project right here. This guy had been in 90 days, and he was 15 away from making director. Wow. All right? He'd put in 15 personals, all right, because right here, if you share it 30 times and you get 20%, that's 6, you know, so you should have 18 personals right here in this month if you're hitting the numbers. 18 personal. Are you with me? Yeah. He had 15. He had over 200 on his team total, and he was just... Yesterday he was about 15 away. Today he was about 6 or 7 away from making director, and he'll get it done in 90 days. I got another guy that's right on track in 120 days is going to end up at director here at the end of the month. I've got several people that are in their second month where they should only be 10 left and 10 right. They're sitting right here at 30-30. Let me share something else with that. That whole team in that whole area, there's not one person that's ever stood in front of the room and done a presentation. Never. Wow. We do 2 lunches in that. We do a Wednesday and a Thursday lunch, a Wednesday, Thursday night presentation, like it's not in a hotel and it's in an office. All they do is push play every time. There's not one of those guys that stood up front and did click through the slides like I did tonight. Not one. All right? And they're putting in 30 to 50 new apps every week. They are blowing it out, and guess what? They can do it. Because all they're doing is push and play. Everybody sees the growth happening. See, it's not about who shows it. It's only about who sees it. We also know there's a group of people out there. I call them green lights. They're ready to start when they see it. There's another group that are yellow lights. If the right person calls them, they take a look and they get in. Only if the right person calls them. And there's another group that are red lights, and it don't matter if we're selling gold bars, they're not interested. Don't matter. All right? You just get away from them as fast as you get away from them. But the ones that want to go, we plug them in, and it's all about duplication, duplication. I know what that team's going to do. We'll have 2,000 people that will come out of that team in the next 6 months. And there might not even be anybody that ever shows a presentation. Wow. Wow. Because they figured out it's not about who shows it. It's only who sees it. They sent me a text yesterday and it said, we had 18 reps in the room, 22 guests. Wow. Every one of their presentations, there's more guests than reps every time because you know what I taught them how to do? How to invite, and then you know what they're doing? Is they're pouring people into these events, and they're getting tons of these, and everybody just pushes play, and let's go. All right? What's this down over here? This right over here is people that attend Acceleration. There's 40 squares here. By the time you've been in 120 days, every time somebody on your team goes to Acceleration, you write their name in there. You ought to have 40 people that fit in those squares. That would be your goal. Because now you've got enough people that have been in the environment that they all of a sudden got the music inside them. They see how big this is going to be. They've met the owners of the company. They met people like Scott Ross or Jefferson Santos or David Peach or Eric Grzybowski, all right, or Gabby sitting over here, or whoever, and they've said, listen, if they're making this work, I can make this work. And they gained confidence in that, and they got around the people where they saw they could go to, and they come home and they win. All right? You have to understand, this little thing right here has got all the answers right on it. I want to share one last thing with you. If it works in month 1, you ought to understand the numbers work in month 4. Go do the math on what happens in month number 5. Go do the math on what happens in month number 6. Unbelievable. There's people that have started with what I'm talking about right here, The fastest person in our company at IMD was 10 months and 5 days, and it was Dr. David Peach. I'm going to tell you right now, there's people in this company that will break his record that don't have half the talent that he's got, which he's unbelievably talented, because they understand how to duplicate really, really fast. And they'll do it in 7 months. They'll do it in 8 months. They'll do it in 9 months to our top rank level, because I tell you one thing, the numbers do not lie. What you've got to decide right here, if you want to win, you've got to decide you're going to do this right here. I'm going to make at least 30 personal exposures, and I'm going to do that for 120 days if it absolutely kills me. That's what you've got to decide. All right? Now, the only way you decide that, to go do that, is you got to figure out, I got enough of a reason over here to go do it. All right? Because, see, life's about risks. You're going to have some of you who say, well, I've tried these ideas before. Listen, who cares what you tried before? You're going to have to decide whether you want to take a risk or not. See, I pushed all my chips in when I saw this idea, and we had no dream trips virtually. We had one dream trip was totally sold out. Our technology didn't even work. All we had was an opportunity. That's it. All right? Now we got hundreds of dream trips. Our technology is unbelievable. The opportunity from the business side is better than it ever was. All right? The point is, I knew that I had to push my chips in, and it was all about me exposing people. You know why I said in my presentation earlier I exposed 60 people the first month? Because I wanted to get there quick. I'm telling you to do 30 here, but I knew if I expose 60, I've got to find 15 to 30 that want to start telling somebody about it, where a few of those filter out that it goes really fast. You have to understand, this is what makes it work. What supports it is you go into acceleration, listen to Drive Time, booking your dream trip, and plugging into the event. That supports everything you do that keeps you in the game of doing this right here. I'm just telling you, that's the key. Right there, that's the key. Of just sharing it with somebody over and over and over. This is all I did. I just shared it with somebody over and over and over and over. And then sometimes I went someplace and they weren't there. Sometimes they said, you're crazy. It didn't make no difference. I just kept sharing it over and 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 over. And when I was tired of doing that, I did it over and over and over and over and over and over and over. When I got tired of that, I did a little bit more. And when I got tired of that, I did a little bit more. And then one day I woke up and I go, wow, this is unbelievable. Because I want to share with you as I close this, you go through 3 stages. These 3 stages of this. All right. Stage number was, I can't believe I'm working this hard for this little amount of money. I can't believe. I mean, I could have sold some stuff at work. You're in the car business, or you're a builder, or I don't know what your profession is. Medical sales, and you say, I can make one sale and make more than I made in the entire month with this. All right? See, stage 1 is from 0 to director. You don't move out of stage 1 until you make director. When you make director, you go to the 2nd stage, and that's our rank level director and marketing director. And it's like, this idea is starting to work, I'm starting to make a little bit of money. All right? And pretty soon, your spouse now gets a little more positive that, hey, yeah, you are making a little money. So far, they've been telling you you're crazy. I can't believe you're doing that. You're not making any money doing it. You're spending way more than you're making. The babysitter makes more than you make. All right? But you got to understand how this works, because after stage 2, here's what happens. Stage 3 comes, and it's like, I can't believe they're paying me this amount of money for this amount of work. See, I drove 5 hours, 5.5 hours from my house to here and cycled 27 times. Now, if you take 27 cycles, that's $2,700 if it was paid only on 100. But if it was paid on 200, even if my math isn't very good, it's pretty darn good. That's almost $6,000 in 5 hours. Now, it doesn't take too many hours for it to add up and get real good. See, I'm in the place now where it's like, I can't believe how much money they're paying me. I can't believe how much money. It's unbelievable what's taking place. But see, everybody wants to jump over there and do that. The point is, you got to do stage 1 first, and stage 1 is about this right here, and teaching the duplication of it over and over and over and over. And you saying, I'm going to just do what it takes to make it work. If you'll teach this to other people over and over and over, all of a sudden you can have success too. Thanks for coming tonight.
Thanks, man.